From zero, the first rule is not to chase money. It is to stop being fragile. A man with no capital, no network, and no backing cannot build like a man with a safety net. He cannot copy luxury habits, fake confidence, or gamble on vague passion and call it courage. Machiavelli would see the trap immediately. Men judge what they can see, not what you believe you might become. So your first currency is not ambition. It is evidence. Reduce your weakness. Choose a skill close to money. Build proof before you ask for access. Use that proof to enter better rooms. Convert skill into cash. Protect surplus-like territory. Then buy ownership before status. The opposite trap is resentment. Do not become a man who hates the world but produces nothing. No support means no permission. Capability first. Proof second. Leverage third. Andrew Carnegie did not escape poverty because the world believed in his potential. He began as a bobbin boy in a cotton mill at 13, working from dawn until dark, earning $1.20 per week. Then he became a telegraph messenger. He learned the equipment. He entered the railroad world. He attached himself to a growing machine where competence could compound. Later, Carnegie Steel became the largest steel manufacturing company in the world. In 1901, he sold his steel company to J.P. Morgan for $480 million. Jan Koum did not rise because somebody looked at him and said, "This man deserves a billion-dollar future." His family lived on welfare. They collected food stamps near the same Mountain View area where WhatsApp would later have its office. Years later, Facebook acquired WhatsApp for $16 billion plus $3 billion for founders and staff. Sarah Blakely did not wait for institutional permission. She launched Spanx with $5,000 in savings, no business degree, and no outside investment. Stanford Graduate School of Business has described that beginning. Forbes later described how she turned that $5,000 into a billion-dollar company and became the youngest woman to join the Forbes World's Billionaires list without help from a husband or inheritance. The pattern was not luck. The pattern was not comfort. The pattern was not emotional support arriving at the perfect time. The pattern was sequence. Carnegie became useful inside a machine where usefulness could compound. Koum built a product people actually used. Blakely solved a real problem, sold it herself, and kept ownership before the world could crown her. So here is the question most men avoid. If the path is so simple, why do most men starting from zero never become wealthy? Not because they lack desire. Desire is everywhere. Every broke man wants more money. Every ignored man wants respect. Every unsupported man wants to prove the room wrong. Every man who has been doubted by his family has imagined the day when their judgment changes. Every man who has been ignored by friends has imagined becoming too visible to dismiss. Every man who has felt invisible has imagined the moment when silence turns into recognition. But desire does not build anything by itself. Desire can sit in your chest for 10 years and produce nothing. Desire can make you consume videos, buy notebooks, announce goals, rewrite plans, and still remain exactly where you are. Desire can make a man feel powerful while his life remains fragile. It can give him emotional heat without strategic movement. The problem is sequence. Most men try to look rich before they become free. They chase motivation before they build skill. They ask for opportunity before they have proof. They seek a network before they have value to bring. They want ownership before they have surplus. They want the visible symbols of success before they own the invisible structure that creates it. They build in the wrong order. And when a man builds in the wrong order, every step forward becomes heavier than it should be. Machiavelli wrote in The Prince that it is better to follow the real truth of the matter than the imagination of it. He warned that the distance between how one lives and how one ought to live is so wide that a man who ignores reality will bring about his own ruin. That is the first lesson. If you are starting from zero, fantasy is expensive. You do not need a dream first. You need a structure. Because from zero, weakness is not just emotional. Weakness has a price. A fragile man cannot negotiate. He accepts whatever is offered because he has no room to refuse. He says yes when he should say no. He tolerates disrespect because his bills are louder than his pride. He stays in environments that shrink him because escape requires money, proof, and options he has not built yet. A fragile man cannot take smart risks. Every problem feels like danger because one unexpected bill can collapse his confidence. He cannot test opportunities because failure would not be feedback. Failure would be financial punishment. He cannot walk away from bad deals because walking away requires space. He cannot think clearly because scarcity keeps shouting over strategy. A fragile man cannot build long-term. He lives in reaction. He wakes up behind. He goes to sleep ashamed. He tells himself he is preparing, but most days he is only surviving. He consumes advice about investing while his life can be broken by one emergency. He studies business models while his spending is ruled by ego. He talks about freedom while he cannot survive a month without obedience. And worst of all, a fragile man becomes dependent on belief. He needs his family to approve because he has no proof. He needs friends to encourage him because he has no system. He needs strangers to notice him because he has no leverage. He needs motivation because his environment is stronger than his discipline. He needs someone to tell him he is not crazy because his own results have not defended him yet. That is not freedom. That is dependence wearing ambition's clothing. Machiavelli wrote, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few really know what you are." In modern terms, your hidden hunger does not matter until it becomes visible evidence. The market cannot pay you for the man you believe you are. It pays for what you can prove. This is where unsupported men become dangerous or bitter. One man says, "No one believes in me, so I will build evidence." Another man says, "No one believes in me, so I will hate the world." One becomes strategic. The other becomes theatrical. One uses isolation as a workshop. The other uses isolation as a courtroom, where he keeps proving that everyone else is guilty. But resentment is not leverage. Anger is not a skill. Pain is not a business model. Being misunderstood does not automatically make you exceptional. Sometimes it only means your value has not been translated into proof. So if you are starting from zero, you need to understand the cold mechanism. You do not become a millionaire by chasing money first. You become one by building power in the correct sequence. This is the zero advantage system. Step 1. Reduce your fragility. Lower expenses. Cut waste. Eliminate obvious leaks. Build basic emergency cash. This is not glamorous. That is why weak men avoid it. They want to talk about investments before they can control spending. They want to talk about entrepreneurship before they can control appetite. They want to talk about abundance while every small pressure turns them into a servant. They want the language of wealth without the discipline of stability. But the first move is not to become rich. The first move is to become harder to break. A fragile man does not make decisions. He reacts. He panics. He accepts bad offers. He tolerates bad rooms. He stays available to people who do not respect him because he cannot afford disappearance. He confuses patience with fear. He calls it loyalty when it is really lack of options. You cannot build power while every bill controls your nervous system. You cannot negotiate from a position where one missed paycheck destroys your posture. You cannot become strategic if your life is designed to punish every mistake. Reducing fragility means you stop pretending small leaks are harmless. The subscriptions you barely use. The food you buy because you are too undisciplined to plan. The status purchases made to impress people who are not investing in your future. The small comforts that keep you from building a larger freedom. Every dollar you protect is not just money, it is future refusal power. It is the power to reject a bad offer, the power to survive a slow month, the power to choose the harder path because you are not starving for immediate approval, the power to stay calm while other men fold. If you have no support, you cannot afford disorder. You cannot afford to live as if someone is coming to rescue you. Nobody is going to bail you out. And if that sentence makes you feel abandoned, good. Let it sober you. Let it strip away the fantasy. Let it turn you from a man waiting to be saved into a man building systems, because salvation is not a strategy. But reducing fragility only keeps you alive. It does not make you valuable. A man with savings but no skill has stability, not leverage. He can survive longer, but he cannot rise faster. He has bought himself breathing room, but now that room must be converted into capability. That is where most men fail. They reduce pressure for a moment, then spend the peace on entertainment. They finally get space, then waste it recovering from a life they refuse to redesign. The purpose of stability is not comfort. The purpose of stability is construction. Step 2. Choose a skill close to money. Do not choose a vague passion. Choose a skill that touches revenue, efficiency, risk, distribution, or systems. Sales, copywriting, coding, automation, finance, design, operations, content production, negotiation, product building, lead generation, data, artificial intelligence workflows. Distribution. A skill close to money solves problems people already pay to remove. This is not about what sounds impressive, it is about proximity to value. The closer your skill is to money, the faster the market can understand why it matters. If your skill increases revenue, saves time, reduces risk, creates attention, improves systems, or helps someone sell more, you are no longer just a worker. You are becoming a weapon of value. The unsupported man cannot afford romantic confusion. He cannot spend years becoming good at something the market barely rewards and then blame the world for not noticing. He cannot choose a skill because it makes him feel artistic, mysterious, or different. He must ask a colder question. What pain does this remove? Whose problem becomes easier because I exist? Can this skill produce money, save money, protect money, attract attention, improve decisions, or build systems? If the answer is weak, the path becomes slower and harder. This does not mean you must abandon all passion. It means passion must be disciplined by reality. A passion far from money may feed your soul, but it may not free your life. A skill close to money can become the bridge between survival and sovereignty. Carnegie did not begin with abstract ambition. He attached himself to telegraphy, railroads, steel, and industrial growth. He moved toward systems where usefulness could compound. Coombe did not merely carry the pain of poverty. He learned technology and built a product around communication, privacy, and simplicity. His proof was not a speech, his proof was users. Blakely did not wait for a boardroom to validate her. She solved a problem customers could feel. She sold it. She protected ownership. The market did not need her resume once the proof was moving. This is the lesson. Pain does not make you rich. A skill that solves a real problem can. But skill alone is not enough. A hidden skill is a private possession. A proven skill is leverage. And this is where the next trap opens. Many men learn quietly and mistake private improvement for public power. They read, they practice, they consume. They become slightly better in secret. But the market cannot reward invisible competence. Rooms do not open for work nobody can see. Opportunities do not travel toward a man whose value has never been documented. This is why the next step separates builders from dreamers. Step 3. Build like a poor man. Think like an owner. Start with low-cost tools, free distribution, public output, relentless learning, no luxury, no fake image, but think like an owner. The unsupported man has to master two minds at once. He must build like a poor man because resources are limited. He cannot waste money pretending to be further ahead than he is. He cannot hide behind expensive equipment, beautiful branding, perfect systems, premium courses, or the fantasy that better tools will give him better discipline. Starting from zero means constraints are not insults. They are training. But he must think like an owner because survival alone can become a cage. Poor men often think only in tasks. What can I do today to get paid today? What can I finish so I can survive the week? What can I trade for money right now? That thinking is necessary at the beginning. But if it never evolves, the man remains trapped, selling his hours forever. So you ask of everything you build. Can this be reused? Can this be sold? Can this be documented? Can this become a system? Can this create proof while I sleep? Can this become an asset instead of just another task? If you are learning copywriting, do not only write in private. Build a public library of breakdowns. If you are learning coding, do not only complete exercises. Build projects people can test. If you are learning sales, do not only study persuasion. Document outreach, objections, conversations, and lessons. If you are learning content production, do not only watch creators. Publish, analyze, improve. Repeat. The poor man asks, how do I get through this month? The owner asks, what am I building this month that can still work for me later? The unsupported man must do both. He must survive today without sacrificing tomorrow. This is difficult because early ownership thinking feels humiliating. At the beginning, your assets look small. Your portfolio looks rough. Your posts get ignored. Your projects feel amateur. Your voice sounds uncertain. Your first attempts do not match the man you imagine yourself to be. And this is where many men retreat. They would rather remain talented in private than become a beginner in public. They protect their ego by hiding their development. They call it preparation. They call it standards. They call it waiting until they are ready. But often, it is fear wearing professional clothing. Listen carefully. Beginner proof is still stronger than invisible potential. A rough project is stronger than an imagined skill. A public breakdown is stronger than private intelligence. A small case study is stronger than a perfect excuse. Because once your work becomes visible, reality can respond. People can critique it. The market can test it. Better men can notice it. Weakness can be corrected. Skill can become sharper. Proof can begin to accumulate. And once proof begins to accumulate, you no longer approach the world as a man asking to be believed. You approach it as a man carrying evidence. That is when the game changes. Step 4. Create public proof. Before asking for opportunity, this is where the weak man waits. He waits to be hired. He waits to be discovered. He waits for someone to give him permission to prove himself. He waits for the perfect opportunity, the perfect introduction, the perfect employer, the perfect client, the perfect mentor, the perfect moment when the world finally says, now you may begin. No. Build proof before access. If you want to work in marketing, publish breakdowns of campaigns. Take companies, products, creators, or brands and show what they are doing wrong, what they are doing right, and what you would test next. Do not beg the market to imagine your mind. Put your mind where the market can see it. If you want to sell, document outreach and results. Show how you think through objections. Show how you would improve a pitch. Show how you would find leads. Show how you would position an offer. Show the process behind the result. If you want to code, build projects. Do not hide behind tutorials forever. Build something small, useful, visible, and finished. A simple tool that works is stronger than a private fantasy about becoming technical one day. If you want to consult, analyze businesses publicly, show the problem, show the bottleneck, show the opportunity, show the move. Your analysis becomes your proof. If you want to create content, ship videos before anyone asks. Do not wait until your voice sounds perfect. Do not wait until the lighting is perfect. Do not wait until your confidence gives you permission. The first proof of a creator is not talent. It is output. If you want clients, create case studies before you have status. Use mock projects. Use breakdowns. Use unpaid experiments if necessary. Use your own channels. Use public problems. Show evidence that you can think, build, improve, and finish. Machiavelli said, "Men judge more by the eye than by the hand, because everyone can see, but few come close enough to touch the truth." That is not just political wisdom. That is market wisdom. People trust what they can see. So give them something to see. Most unsupported men hate this step because it exposes them. In private, they can still believe they are brilliant. In public, the work must defend itself. In private, they can imagine respect. In public, silence may answer first. In private, they can tell themselves they are almost ready. In public, the market can reveal that they are still weak. That exposure is painful, but it is also the price of power. A man who refuses to be seen cannot complain that he is invisible. A man who refuses to publish proof cannot complain that nobody believes him. A man who refuses to enter reality cannot complain that reality has not rewarded him. The world is not required to investigate your potential. It is not required to look past your lack of evidence and discover the hidden king inside you. Most people are busy. Most people are self-interested. Most people make quick judgments from visible signals. That may offend your pride, but offense does not change the mechanism. If people judge what they can see, then your duty is to make value visible. This is why Carnegie's early proof mattered. He was not merely a poor boy with ambition. He became reliable inside systems that powerful men already cared about. Telegraphy mattered. Railroads mattered. Industrial growth mattered. His usefulness could be observed, transferred, and compounded. This is why Jan Koum's proof mattered. His pain did not make WhatsApp valuable. Users did. People using the product became evidence. The market saw behavior, not biography. This is why Sarah Blakely's proof mattered. She did not need every institution to approve her first. Customers buying became the signal. Ownership became possible because proof arrived before outside permission. The unsupported man must understand this. Proof is not decoration. Proof is the bridge between isolation and opportunity. Without proof, your ambition stays trapped inside your own narration. With proof, your value begins to travel without your emotional explanation. Someone sees your work, someone shares it, someone remembers it, someone connects it to a problem, someone tests you with a small opportunity, then a larger one. Then a room opens that would have ignored you when all you had was hunger. This is why you must stop asking people to believe. Belief is expensive when evidence is cheap. Build the evidence. And if this is hitting the exact place you have been avoiding, do one thing right now. Comment the word sequence below. not as decoration, as a public marker that you understand the order. Capability first, proof second, leverage third, step 5, use proof to enter better rooms. Most men misunderstand networking. They think networking is begging powerful people to save them. They think it means sending desperate messages, flattering strangers, asking for mentorship, trying to stand near status, hoping proximity turns into opportunity. That is not networking. That is dependence. Real networking is proof traveling through people. When you have no proof, outreach feels desperate. You are asking someone to take a risk on your imagination. You are asking them to lend you reputation, attention, opportunity, or access without a strong reason. You may be sincere, you may be hungry, you may even be talented. But sincerity is not enough to overcome uncertainty. When you have proof, outreach becomes strategic. You are no longer saying, "Please believe in me." You are saying, "Here is evidence that I can create value. Here is the problem I understand. Here is what I have already built. Here is the result I can produce. Here is why this matters to you." That changes the room. People do not respect need. They respect usefulness. And when usefulness is documented, it begins to travel. A man with proof can send a sharper message. He can approach a business and say, "I analyzed your landing page and found 3 leaks in the offer. I rewrote the opening section and explained why it may convert better. Here is the breakdown." A man with proof can approach a creator and say, "I studied your last several videos and noticed that retention likely drops after the first payoff because there is no next loop. I rewrote one section to show the difference. Here is the sample." A man with proof can approach a company and say, "I built a small automation that removes this repeated task. Here is a short demonstration. If this is useful, I can build the complete version." Notice the difference. He is not begging. He is entering with value. This does not guarantee success. Nothing honest guarantees success. But it changes the power dynamic. It makes the other person respond to evidence instead of emotion. It reduces the friction of trust. It makes ignoring him slightly more expensive. That phrase matters. Make ignoring you expensive. Not through noise, not through ego, not through threats, not through dramatic declarations. Through usefulness so visible that dismissal becomes less rational. This is the cold law of higher rooms. People protect access because access has cost. A better room contains better information, better standards, better incentives, better opportunities, and better people. But those rooms do not open because you feel excluded. They open when letting you in appears useful, profitable, interesting, or strategically safe. You may hate that. But hating the gate does not open it. Proof does. This is where the unsupported man has to kill another illusion. Not everyone who ignores you is jealous. Not everyone who doubts you is threatened. Not every closed door is proof of injustice. Sometimes the room has no evidence that you belong there yet. That truth should not weaken you. It should clarify your next move. If the room does not open, increase the proof. If the message gets ignored, improve the evidence. If people do not understand your value, package it more clearly. If you are surrounded by people who cannot help you, build work that can travel beyond them. Your first network may not be people. Your first network may be public output. A portfolio can travel. A video can travel. A breakdown can travel. A case study can travel. A product can travel. A result can travel. Evidence has legs. And once evidence moves, conversations change. The unsupported man becomes positioned. He is no longer only an isolated man with ambition. He becomes a man whose work can introduce him before he enters the room. That is leverage beginning to form. But leverage that never turns into cash is incomplete. A man can become visible and still remain poor if he refuses to ask the market to pay. Step 6. Convert skill into cash. This is where many men freeze. They build the skill. They create the proof. Then they hide. They say they are still learning. They say they are not ready. They say they need more confidence. They say the offer is not perfect. They say the timing is wrong. They say they need a better website, a better portfolio, a better camera, a better certificate, a better plan. Sometimes that is true. Often it is fear, because selling exposes you. Selling turns your private identity into a public test. It asks the market a brutal question. Is this useful enough for someone to pay for it? Many men would rather keep improving forever than face that answer. But psychologist Albert Bandura's work on self-efficacy showed that mastery-based experience creates stronger beliefs in ability than merely watching others or being encouraged. In plain language, confidence follows evidence. You do not wait for confidence, you create proof, then use proof until confidence becomes unavoidable. Freelance, pitch, negotiate. Apply to better roles. Sell services. Build offers. Solve specific painful problems. Start small if necessary, but start where money changes hands. The first mission is not luxury. The first mission is cash flow, because cash flow gives oxygen to the machine. Without cash flow, your ambition suffocates. You may have ideas, but no capacity. You may have discipline, but no runway. You may have vision, but no fuel. Money is not the whole game, but without enough of it, every other part of the game becomes more fragile. Cash flow gives you options. Options reduce fear. Reduced fear improves judgment. Better judgment creates better moves. This is how power begins to compound. But do not confuse cash flow with wealth. This is a mistake men make as soon as the first money arrives. They earn more than they used to earn, and the old wound wakes up. Years of being ignored start demanding compensation. Years of feeling small start demanding visible proof. Years of watching other people live better start demanding revenge through consumption. The man tells himself he deserves it, and maybe he does. But the question is not whether he deserves pleasure. The question is whether his pleasure is invading his power. This is why the first money is dangerous. It can make you feel like you have escaped before you have actually built freedom. A few better months can make a fragile man act like a wealthy man. He upgrades his lifestyle before he upgrades his structure. He buys symbols before he buys options. He tries to heal shame with appearance. He wants the car, the clothes, the restaurant, the visible proof that he is no longer beneath anyone. But if you buy status before freedom, you have not escaped poverty, you have decorated it. Step 7. Protect surplus like territory. Income means nothing if ego eats it. This is where the unsupported man is most vulnerable. He has been ignored for years, doubted for years, treated like nothing for years. He has swallowed disrespect. He has watched people with more support move faster. He has felt behind, unseen, and underestimated. So when money finally comes, he wants the world to notice. He wants to make the wound visible in reverse. He wants to say, "Look at me now." But that sentence can become a trap, because the people you are trying to impress may not care. Some may clap and forget you. Some may envy you. Some may use you. Some may raise their expectations. Some may only return when there is something to take. And while you are performing success for them, your surplus may be disappearing. Surplus is the money that survives your appetite. It becomes your refusal power, the power to leave, the power to wait, the power to reject a bad deal, the power to survive pressure without folding, the power to make decisions without begging, the power to stop negotiating from weakness. Machiavelli wrote that it is much safer to be feared than loved when one cannot be both. Do not misunderstand this. In your life, this does not mean making people afraid of you. It means becoming structurally difficult to dismiss. A man with surplus is harder to control. A man with options is harder to exploit. A man who can say no is no longer negotiating from weakness. This is not about hoarding money out of fear. It is about protecting power from appetite. It is about understanding that every dollar has a military function in your life. Some dollars defend you. Some dollars expand you. Some dollars expose your ego. Some dollars disappear because you needed strangers to believe you were further ahead than you were. Protecting surplus requires a colder identity. You must become the kind of man who can earn money without immediately asking it to repair his self-image. You must become the kind of man who can be underestimated a little longer if that allows him to own more later. You must become the kind of man who would rather have hidden strength than visible weakness dressed as success. This is difficult because status is seductive. Status gives immediate emotional relief. Ownership gives delayed power. Status gets attention now. Ownership gives control later. Status says, they can see me. Ownership says, they cannot easily move me. The unsupported man must choose. Does he want applause or options? Does he want proof of spending or proof of control? Does he want to look free or become difficult to trap? If you are building from zero, your surplus is sacred territory. Do not let ego invade it. Do not let loneliness spend it. Do not let resentment spend it. Do not let the need to be seen spend it. Do not let people who never supported your climb tax your first stability. Protect surplus like territory because it is territory. It is the land between you and dependence. It is the space where strategy can breathe. But protected surplus is still not the final move. Money sitting still can defend you, but ownership is what expands you. Step 8. Buy ownership before status. This is the final conversion. Assets before applause. Equity before image. Systems before lifestyle. Ownership is how the unsupported man escapes dependence. You begin moving surplus into things that can grow beyond your direct hours. Business assets, equity, intellectual property, products, systems, retirement accounts, investments, audience, distribution, tools, ownership stakes. The poor man sells time. The strategic man converts time into skill, skill into proof, proof into income, income into surplus, and surplus into ownership. That is the machine, not motivation, not revenge, not fantasy. Sequence. A man who only sells time remains vulnerable because his income depends on constant availability. If he stops, the machine stops. If he gets sick, the machine slows. If the employer changes direction, the machine can remove him. If the client leaves, the machine becomes unstable. A man with ownership begins to create separation between effort and reward. A product can sell while he sleeps. A system can operate without his constant touch. A reputation can bring opportunities he did not chase. An audience can distribute ideas faster than private conversations. Equity can grow beyond the hours that purchased it. Intellectual property can be reused, packaged, licensed, or scaled. This is not magic. It is structure. And structure is what unsupported men need most. Support can disappear. Motivation can collapse. Approval can change. Friends can misunderstand. Family can doubt. Employers can replace. Trends can shift. But structure gives your ambition a body. It turns private hunger into visible machinery. This is the real meaning of becoming undeniable. It does not mean everyone loves you. It does not mean nobody criticizes you. It does not mean your family finally understands every decision. It does not mean the world apologizes. It means your evidence has become too solid to casually dismiss. It means your value has become visible. Your skill has become useful. Your proof has become portable. Your cash flow has become oxygen. Your surplus has become refusal power. Your ownership has become independence. Now understand what this means. Starting from zero is not romantic. It is not a movie scene. It is not a motivational quote under a black and white photo. Starting from zero means you cannot afford disorder. You cannot afford vague passion. You cannot afford fake confidence. You cannot afford to be talented in private. You cannot afford to look rich before you become free. You cannot afford to waste resentment on people who did not support you. The unsupported man has one hidden advantage. No one owns his rise. If no one funded you, no one controls your direction. If no one carried you, no one can claim the victory. If no one believed in you, no one gets credit when proof arrives. But this only becomes power if you produce. Without production, no support becomes loneliness. With production, no support becomes sovereignty. So stop saying, "I started from zero," like it is a wound. Say it like a position. Zero is not your identity. Zero is the ground you build from. The old belief was that support must come before progress. That belief must be removed. The stronger belief is this: early progress often has to be created before support appears. The old belief was that potential should earn opportunity. That belief must be removed. The stronger belief is this: markets and institutions respond more reliably to evidence. The old belief was that no network means no chance. That belief must be removed. The stronger belief is this: public proof, useful skills, and consistent distribution can partially substitute for inherited access. The old belief was that money will automatically create respect. That belief must be removed. The stronger belief is this: money without structure can attract attention, appetite, dependence, envy, and more expensive weakness. This is the identity shift. You are not a man waiting for permission. You are a man building evidence. You are not abandoned. You are unowned. You are not behind because you started from zero. You are behind if you keep building in the wrong order. You are behind if you keep confusing emotional intensity with progress. You are behind if you keep using pain as identity instead of converting it into skill, proof, leverage, and ownership. No support means no permission. It also means no excuses. Build the machine. But there is a deeper danger. Even after a man builds skill, proof, and income, he can still stay poor if he does one thing wrong. He fails to protect the surplus. He finally earns more, but his appetite expands faster than his power. He starts buying the symbols of freedom before he owns the structure of freedom. He upgrades the visible life while the invisible structure remains weak. He calls it confidence, but it is often insecurity with a receipt. And that is how men escape poverty for a moment, then get dragged back into a more expensive cage. So remember the sequence. Reduce fragility. Choose a skill close to money. Build like a poor man. Think like an owner. Create public proof. Use proof to enter better rooms. Convert skill into cash. Protect surplus like territory. Buy ownership before status. When you have no support, sequence becomes survival. Build in the wrong order and you stay trapped. Build in the right order and zero becomes your origin, not your ceiling. If this gave you the structure you needed, comment sequence below. I want to know who is actually building this in order, not just watching for motivation. And do not leave this idea as entertainment. Choose one step today, not tomorrow, not someday, today. Reduce one leak. Pick one skill close to money. Publish one piece of proof. Send one useful message. Protect $1 of surplus. Build one small asset. One move is not the whole empire, but it is the first proof that you are no longer waiting to be chosen. The next danger is colder. After a man starts earning more, the battle moves from income to appetite. Because if your appetite grows faster than your ownership, you do not become free. You become expensive to maintain. Most men do not lose because they never touch opportunity. They lose because they touch it before they have the structure to keep it. So let the doctrine settle. Capability first. Proof second. Leverage third. Surplus protected. Ownership before status. No support means no permission. Zero is not your ceiling. Build the machine.